Hello and welcome to Financial Reactions. This is the YieldMax 100 Share Challenge, where we have been following what would happen if you had purchased 100 shares of each of the YieldMax funds and groups A, B, C, and D starting in December of 2024. We are on payment 6 for Group D, so let's go ahead and see where we're at. Before I get into this, if you could all do me a huge favor, I'd really appreciate it. Show me a little love, give me a thumbs up, and hit that like button, and go ahead and subscribe, and you can follow along with the rest of this journey. So let's get into Group D. As you can see, the cost basis is up to $25,000, just a little over. Market value is $18,500, so we're down about $6,500. And if you want to check out how we're doing on the portfolio overall on the div tracker, you can see on AIYY 142.09, the average price is $771 and the current price is $415. AMZY, average price $18.64, current price $15.84. That one's a little closer, but we're still down about $300. And these prices are reflective after the dividend payment, so don't forget that. MSTY, $17.73 is the average price, and $12.45 is the current price. DISO is 118 shares, $16.45. And a current of $14.35, so that one's a little close too. We're down about $200 overall. MSTY is up to 155 shares, average price of $27.23, and it's down to $21.15. And remember, when we started this December 2024, the markets were much better, and all of these were up. I think like MSTY was up over 30 at that time, so that's why the average price is still staying up there. SMCY, 24.63 is the average, 18.75. Winter, this one is not tracking in the dividend tracker. I haven't figured out why, so we'll go XYZY, which used to be SMCY, 16.98, and it's down to 9.40, so that one's taking a hit. And then YQQQ is 17.16, and its current is 14.67. Let's see the overview. We are at $24,000 is our annual goal, which would be $2,000 a month. And we are 1567, so we're 65% of the way there. So you can see we've got 1154 in July, so that was that month's payment. And I'm going to go to the sheets. So Google Sheets, don't need that letter there. Alrighty, and this was, as you can see, on the 7th, we had 142.09 shares. The price of that day, and these prices are going to be a little different because I didn't do this video on Saturday, so the prices have changed a little. So I always enter the price Saturday morning after dividend payment. So its price is $4.44, which is $4.30 a share down. And the investment started at $8.74. That was the initial investment to buy the 100 shares. And the current value of this fund is $630.88, which is $243.12 down. This one, as you can see, the dividends have held steady on this one. We're in the 30s, so that's not bad for consistency wise. Unfortunately, the NAV is killing us. We received $42.53 this dividend payment, and that bought us the different. That's how the shares go. Total the dividend paid to the shares, so everybody knows how that works. This column is house with drip. This is house money. How long till we get 100% of our money back? So or we have made 100% of our investment back in dividends. So this one's at 221.85, which is a quarter of the way there, 25%. Without drip, you would have got 32.09 as your dividend payment, and we're up to 194.49, so 22.25. This is total. So this one is consistent with unfortunate falling NAV. AMZY. So let's see, how is Amazon done? We're up to 121 shares. As you can see, this one, there's a little green down here, which this means is we've lost $3.27 a share. But with the dividend payments and times our number of shares, we're at 1924.35. So this one is actually above your initial investment by 12.35. As you can see, the dividends have bounced around a little bit. It was 59, which isn't bad. So we received a dividend payment of 69. We have got 352.45 at 18.43% total. And without drip, 326, so 17%. But because the start price and the current price are close enough that the dividends will offset it, so we're even on that one, so that's a good thing. Aptly, this one's only 117 shares, so this one is not growing very fast. As you can see, the share price is down 551, so it's at 12.85. And it's 331 down. It's at 15.04. We did have a really small payment compared to last month's, but it's in line with the 30s, so this one doesn't pay a lot. We are at 13% with house or with drip and 12.9 without. DISO, this one's close. As you can see, this price is held steady. We're only at 118.32 shares because the dividends aren't that great, but with the NAV holding, we're close. We're close to even already because we're at 16.62. We did get a 55-cent payment, which is trending up. So let's give it one more month to see how that one goes. It would be nice if they could keep that upward trend. We're at 15.47 with and 14.45 without. Let's see, MSTY. MSTY is down. That is not the right price. What is going on? How about we enter the right numbers? There we go, 888. That looks better. So we have MSTY has paid some massive dividends, which is why we're up to 155.91 shares. This is what you want to see with these high yields. You want your shares to really grow fast. Like I said, this started in May. It was down to 29. It was like in the mid-30s, I want to say, 33, 34, 35, just before I started this. So it's gone down about 888, so it's down to 20.59. However, because of the dividends it's paid, we're actually $263 above our initial investment. And the price is stabilized across the last 4 months. So if it holds, then these, well, obviously this one won't catch up, but this one will start to grow. And this is the one that really matters, is our our return versus our investment. The latest dividend was down to $1.47, so it had a bad month, but it did. You can see it's had $2, $2.30s, a $2.30, and then $1.40. So this one's volatile. Its underlying is crypto related, so that's some of the volatility there. Look at this. We've already received $1,298 in dividends with drip, which is 44%, so we're almost halfway there in 6 months. So maybe by a year we'll hit 100 on this one, and 37.27 without. So if you had put 29.47, if you had bought 100 shares of this in May and you needed a little bit extra each month, you would have gotten some decent payments. Of course, your losses would be Obviously, without the drip payment would be bigger. But that's a nice little, if you're doing a debt accelerator or you need help with a car payment or something, that's not too shabby at all. You got to remember, these high yields, they risk the NAV to get you your dividends. So you got to remember that and invest according to what is the goal. And your goal is your goal. I can't give you a goal. SMCY is another good one. It's up to 158.49. Of course, it's also lost $8 in share price, and it is also positive in return. And this is just the return versus the value of these two lines. It doesn't count the dividends. This is just so you can have a different way of keeping track of where you're at. So obviously you've had all this dividend. So if you would have, would show as a red if you were counting dividends as more income, which is how it's shown in the dividend tracker. Because as you can see, scroll's not working. Portfolio, let's go to SMCY. As you can see, it's showing that down that $931 because it's cost averaging every time you get a dividend. It's cost averaging the more shares, and that's where that number comes from. All right, we're at look at that, 46%. So this one's getting to about halfway also. So this one might make 100 by the end of the year, or by the end of the 13 payments. And 38.48, as you can see, the more shares you get, these two returns really start to separate, which is why that difference is so much higher on this one. Yeah, this is the old SMCY. They renamed. Not sure why. I think the equity they follow, or the stock they follow, changed its name. We're at 133.65, $9, over $9 down. This one's lost a lot. As you can see, it's also $5.92 down. The dividend, this dividend was nice. It was in the 80s, but that's above normal, as you can see, 40s, 50s. It's only returned 20% of your initial investment and 18.24%. And then there's this one, YQQQ. How we doing? See, this one's only lost 271 in share price, but as you can see, these small dividends, it's only picked up 14.4 shares. And we're down about $61. If this one could recover a little share price, it would be nice. But as you can see, 20, it was doing 40s, and then it's got these 20s. So that one's kind of tough. It's only returned 13.6% of your initial investment and 12.9%. Winter, it showed it paid a dividend last month. I don't know. Like I said, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with this one. Its price has dropped considerably, and it paid a $2.71 dividend. But for some reason, I can't get the dividend tracker to keep up with that. I'll keep searching. Maybe I can I've sent them an email. Hopefully I can get this fixed before too long. But that's Group D. So thanks for making it this far. Next one will be payment 7 on Group A. And I am thinking about doing this as a two-parter. So I'm going to do one part and looking at just the dividend tracker, and then one part at the Google Sheets, so I can make the videos shorter. So let me know if you think that's a good idea, or would you prefer just one longer video. So Group A, I will have that up as soon as possible after I get Group D finished up. And I thank you for joining me. Once again, remember, if you would do me a huge favor of hitting like and subscribe, it really helps me with the YouTube gods. And thanks for joining me again. Have a good day.